All right. Hi there. This is Jackie from TechJackie.com. Welcome to another video on SEO. First of all, if you're brand new to this channel, make sure to press the subscribe button down below so when I release a new SEO video like this, you get notified. Right. So in today's video, I'd like to discuss on how to recover from Google product updates with the help of a case study that I have helped my client. So it's not very recently, but I just got a chance to really write up this case studies, and I helped him about 3 to 4 months back, and till now he's still thriving, right? So basically I want to go through the case study a little bit with you, as well as to kind of explain to you how to really recover from this update if you got hit by one, right? So the product update, the first version was released in April 7th, 2021, and prior to that, I think, or maybe around that time, Google released this documentations to kind of explain to you what they're looking for in this product core update. So kind of like a content guidelines, right? And according to, and then after that, right, we are aware that Google also went through maybe one or two more release of the product review updates that they announced, which recently just finished right around the first week or maybe second week of April, right? And some of the people got hit another time again. Some of them recovered, but overall, it's been quite a big update, especially for affiliate marketers, right? And according to Google, this was the article by SC Roundtable back in April last year that kind of explained that from Daddy Sullivan, he explained that unlike with core updates, this product review uh, refreshes from time to time, right? You can see here when a refresh happens, limited nature. So overall, there in the background, if you got hit, let's say by any of the product updates, you can recover it from time to time. When they release a refresh, it might not be every 2 weeks, every 3 weeks, but you got to give it some time. You might not have to wait until the next product review update rolled out to really kind of recover from the update. So, and this is the case study that I just finished writing up on my website recently. I'll post a link in the description so you can go and read it out. All right, so this is basically the project background. Let me give you a background of this client. He's an affiliate protein powder review, so he kind of do things like best X protein powder reviews and stuff like that. And the website was mainly on writing about commercial oriented content. So he really had very minimal information type content. And he was hit by the product April 7th, the first version of the product review update. And then he was hit quite bad. And this is the graph right where he got hit. You can see this the dip there. This is the graph of his website. As you can see, this screenshot was taken very recently. Still, even after many iterations of the product review update, his site continued to improve using the suggestion that I gave him, right? So yeah, let's dive to some of the things that I helped him with. So these are some of the things that I helped him, and I'll also go hand in hand with this documentation as well. So without further ado, let's dive into this in detail. First, according to Google, express expert knowledge about products where appropriate. So for this point, the key word here is expert knowledge. What Google is looking for here is website or web pages that really distinguish itself from others. So not just basically I trading over and over again what others people are saying, but rather to give your own unique points, right? To give your own unique topics of why you know a particular product is better than the other. And if you want to go into detail, it's more or less have to do with the language pattern that you use on your page. So for example, if you talk about protein powder, you gotta have to mention the words such as bodybuilding, muscles, proteins, and maybe amino acid, all these important words that you have to incorporate into your content to kind of complete the word graph, right? Or the set of words that are semantically relevant to your main keywords, plus some other unique points that are truly unique to your own content and not just others, right? So the first thing that you got to keep in mind here. And the second point here is show what the product is like physically or how it used with unique content beyond what's provided by the manufacturer here. So the second point here is, to basically show the product in physical, right? So this kind of refers to the image, the original image, original usage of image on your website. Now, for sure, you can't do the Photoshop thing, but the thing here is, with Photoshop, Google can sometimes, point out the difference between original image and Photoshop image. Now, you might be wondering, like, okay, what are some of the things, right? Now, first of all, you have to understand that this product review update is more or less, an NLP machine learning type update, and therefore, all these data points that got fed into the system are trained over a set of samples. So what Google might have actually done here is they might give the machine set of images, so set of original image and set of Photoshop, probably Photoshop image and unoriginal image, and and then let the machine learns what are original image and what are Photoshop image. We as a human being might not be able to see the difference between Photoshop and original, but with the machines, after many iterations of learning, it will be able to identify the Photoshop or fake versus real. You can search online. There are many applications of using AI machine learning to understand or to distinguish between real and fake image. Another thing to keep in mind here is, so this is an image that I took from the photo of my phone, and if you click on the file here, you go to the details, you can see that there's also the camera details given in the file here as well. So as you can see, it clearly tells the models of the phone and the stuff like that, the lens type and everything. So these are also maybe could potentially be another data point that the machine can use to understand whether or not this is an original image taken or a photoshopped image, right? So this data point also could be something to be noted there as well. So I recommend here to go for original image if you can, right? Especially use your mobile phone, because with mobile phone you can feed the AI machine with more data points that it can use to identify whether it's real or fake. Also, when taking pictures, you have to take it with um, how the product looks like and how it is used, maybe the photo of you in the image using the product, something like that. Otherwise, probably Photoshop could be fine, but I don't think it's a long-term solution. Maybe for now it might work for some of you, or many of you, but I'm not sure in the future. So better use real photo image, right? So going back to my client, he actually bought a product himself. He's a gym freak guy, so he uses all the product, and he actually captures every image of him using the product and the product itself. So this point was clearly there, like, for him, so it's an advantage of him there, right? So let's go back to the next point here. So provide quantitative measurements about how the product measures up in various categories of performance. So the keyword here is quantitative measurements. Machine, AI, all these, they like numbers. They like specific point of data. So if you explain anything to the products, you try to explain in a very easy, specific to understand manner. So things such as adding features using numbers and measurements, all these are the AI will eat up, the machine will quickly understand, rather than using a bunch of text, right? So this is also one thing you have to keep in mind. Now, going back to my client, this is also one of the points that I stated here. He used very confusing language when he tried to explain the feature of the product. So what I advise him to do is to use specific numbers, data points, and easy to digest language structure to communicate clearly with algorithms. So this is something you have to also keep in mind when you explain your product. So adding things like features in the bullet points are easy to digest, right? Next point, explain what sets a product apart from competitors. So this is a quite self-explanatory point. What you can do here is, write pros and cons of each of the products, and what really distinguishes each product from the others, right? So makes it very clear. Like I said, make it very clear for algorithms. Make it a clear headings with pros for this product, cons for this product, and then next product, pros for this product, cons for this product as well, right? So this is also one of the points which I advise my clients. So this part goes to the sentence level optimization using semantically relevant keywords. So this also goes with the usage of pros and cons as well. And for this point, I also mentioned in the previous point, to use expert knowledge to complete the word graph, to use different words. For this, I advise you to look at your competitors, the top ranking ones, and see what are the word pattern, what are the set of words that your competitors are using and you're not using, and then incorporate into your content. If you want a quick fix way, you can probably use tools like as Surfer SEO, or maybe Phrase, all those SEO content tool out there. But for me, I personally do it manually. I have my own set of tools, and I have my own set of method, which go to through many things in details. But obviously, it's not a it's not the topic for this video, so I might share in the future. So I'll see that. Okay, so next point here is cover comparable products to consider, or explain which products might be best to certain uses or circumstances. So this more or less, kind of similar to the pros and cons, but this goes to a little bit of more details of why this product A should be considered more than the product B, right? So you might have to give more details, such as product A is better than product B because it is better for for muscle growth, for adults with age, um, you know 40 to 50, something like that, right? Something more explanatory that kind of give a more detailed comparison between the previous and the previous products, right? Next point, discuss the benefits and drawbacks of particular product based on research to it. So this again, quite self-explanatory. You have to include, when you write a content, you have to include the benefits and the drawbacks. So something similar to the pros and cons, but yeah, you might have to do a little bit of research. So don't try to copy the pros and cons from your competitors, but rather make it your own unique way, right? So you can think of it, if you review the product itself by buying itself, that's a good thing. You will see the unique point where competitors are not seeing, which again kind of ties back to the expert knowledge here as well, right? Next point, describe how a product has evolved from previous models or releases to provide improvements, addresses issues, otherwise help user in making purchase decisions. So this is not that of an important thing. So you might have to research a little bit on the previous models and how the product has evolved over a period of times, right? So you might talk about specific, previous models. So let's say you talk about a protein powder. X, and then you talk about a protein powder X version 1, protein powder X version 2. So all these, you kind of make it relevant for that protein X product by grouping together a set of relevant products that could be previous models, right? Something like that. And then address what are the improvement of the new versions compared to the old versions as well. Now, next point is an important one. So identify key decision-making factors for the product categories and how the product performs for those areas. For example, a car review might determine that the fuel economy, safety, and handling are key decision-making factors and rate performance for those areas. So remember, for product reviews, you're recommending products for the buyers to make the decisions, right? So whenever you review a product, you have to talk about certain decision factor making that will help the buyers, right? So you have to maybe speak in a tone or less, something like when you buy protein powder, you have to discuss things such as muscle growth, energy level, all these. Essentially, this again ties back to the usage of words, right? Completing the word graph. You can see here the word car. If you look at it, it is often associated with the word fuel, often associated with the word safety, right? And etc. etc. Again, like I said, going back to the protein powder example, when you talk about proteins, some of the concepts that are associated with the word proteins are things like muscle growth, energy level, right, hormones, all these that could help the buyers in making the buying decisions, right? So again, completing the word graph, usage of words are very important in this point. Remember, product review is a content based update. So it doesn't mean that off page isn't gonna play a role here, but most likely it is your content that's gonna help, right? So the uses of semantically relevant words are very important. That's the key to take away from this. You can see more or less, going through these points, more or less, it's more about using words, using set up relevant topics that are associated with the product that you're reviewing. So this also goes into details such as keyword count and variation optimization. So the how many times you mention the keyword, let's say you talk about protein powder, how many times you mention the word of muscles and stuff like that, to kind of make the overall content more relevant. This also ties back to the entity connection establishment of how you establish the relationship between entities, like protein entities versus muscles versus all these, right? So that's this to keep in mind. Like I said, you can use tools like Surfer SEO, but I recommend do it manually. See, if you're an expert in the field, you should have you should know some of the lingo or some of the words that the only true expert would know, right? And then do a little bit of research of some of the topics that are associated with your product. So like in this example, car is associated with the field topic, associated with the safety topic, right? And these topics, they are associated with buying decisions, right? There's a buying intent there, right? And this helps in the decision making factors. It might be a little bit hard to grasp, but I think I try to explain it into a as easy as possible. So hope you get the point here, right? So protein powder. Some of the buying intent associated topics would be things like muscle growth, like I mentioned, muscle growth rate, right? So when people talk about muscle growth rate, they often look for supplement, and therefore it is tied to a buying intent categories, right? And lastly, describe key choices in how a product has been designed and their effect on the user beyond what manufacturer says. So when you review any type of products, you want to discuss the benefits and the angles, the product informations beyond just what is there on the manufacturer page, right? So when you look at any of the product manufacturer page, mostly the manufacturer will just list certain features and and some information there. Now when you write, again, try to add your own unique point that are beyond what the manufacturer has in their list. So go beyond that. Like I said, usage of words, usage of unique topics are important, and usage of set of semantically relevant topics on the page throughout is also important. And lastly, don't forget to write easy to digest language. So when you write your content, you might use an easy word, something like product X is better than product Y because, right? So you can see X better than Y because, right? So there's a very clear, concise sentence structure that an AI can understand. When you write your content, try to make it easy, like you're talking to a 5-year-old kid, right? So that's another point to keep away. So you can go and read the case study. I'll post a link in the description. So essentially, these are some of the things. And just to kind of show you, the client was kind of low on the budget, so we didn't build any links. And you can see the domain rating. This was taken very recently, like about 1 week or 2 weeks back, during the time I wrote this case studies. And this is video testimonials. As you can see, there was a drop here in the product, in his impressions. But then after he started implementing all this, he started seeing increment in the traffic, right? And this is a part of my client and SEO coaching program. So if you're interested, again, I'll leave the link in the description. You can go and check it out. So just to kind of summarize for you, what you gotta keep in mind when you write your content when it comes to product reviews is, number one, uses of words, right? So try to complete word graph, right? Example, protein powder. You will have to mention word like muscle, energy, maybe testosterone, something like that. So uses of important words, right, that are relevant to your content. Next is usage of unique topics or words. Again, to distinguish yourself as a true expert. So this could be things like add your own unique points, ideas, right, images, right, etc. And thirdly is use easy to digest language and specific data points. So for example, product X is better than product Y because, right? Or something like 1 gram, or things like etc., right? Something like that. So easy to understand. You can see product X is better than product Y because, right, and use of certain data set points such as 1 gram, or something like that, right? So these are like the main key takeaway here from this uh, Google product reviews update, and how you should be writing your content, right? So if you have any questions, feel free to reach out in the comment section down below, and I'll try to answer them as soon as possible, right? And if you're interested in learning more about my SEO coaching program, I'll leave a link in the description as well. Be sure and check it out. And that's all for it. Thank you for watching. See you in the next video.